my name is Barbara Gray from Claritystamp here in the UK, and welcome to YouTube Tuesday. So today I want to introduce you to two things. First of all, a wonderful collection of spectacular fine line stamps that we've recently developed that have been illustrated by our good friend Mel Turner. And also I want to combine them with some superb designer parchment, which I actually designed myself. And the thing is, you see parchment and you think it must be for parchers, but this is not true. And I want to show you how we stampers can really enjoy the properties of parchment too. So let me show you a couple of tricks. Now the first thing I want to do is use one of these lovely round stamps. Now we've got three different collections. So for example, we've got our fairies, our boating, and our California ones. We've even got some California ones. So for example, I could show you here my beautiful lone cypress, which hails back to the days when I used to live in California, where yeah, we lived in Monterey actually. It was very beautiful. So of course the lone cypress is right next door. So we've got these lovely Californian rounds. Then we've got the one that I'm going to tease you with today, which is this fine line boater with you can see the fish underneath the water. And then of course we've got our fairies, which are pretty spectacular. And I'll show you, I think the one I'm going to show you is this one with the toadstool, which is rather lovely, and the butterflies. Yeah, so do have a look at those stamps. They're absolutely superb. And what I want to show you is how they work on this particular sort of parchment. Now, parchment, as we know, usually used in the art of parchment, but we've come up with a really fantastic solution. And you'll see here, this is designer parchment. That's actually the one I'm going to use. But let me show you, when you look at this designer parchment, these come in packs of 48. There are 12 different designs, 4 of each sheet. Very lovely. This one is called Indian Summer, and you can see just how superb they are. There are 4 of these collections. This is Indian Summer. There is also Northern Lights, Shenandoah, and Rainbow River, all beautiful places. That's a piece of paper, which I think we'll use later as well. So I want to show you how this parchment actually works. Let me show you. If we take a look at the parchment, you'll see that on one side it's quite matte. You see this? And on the other side it's much more vibrant, shiny, glossy. And so what we're going to do, you see, is we're going to, let me explain. The front of the parchment is actually the matte side. And if I say the more vibrant side is the back of the parchment, this is actually where the ink has been saturated. The printing, if you like, has been done on the back of the parchment. And that is important to know. So let's have a look at this. This is a stamped piece of artwork. And I want to show you what we're going to do. This is it's quite nice when you realise the possibilities. So we just have to make sure that we're on the right side. We're stamping on the front. And I'm going to use an archival or a permanent ink pad. And I shall, just for the sake of uniformity, I shall go with our boating, with our fishermen. Great for a man's card, great for a retirement card, for a Father's Day card. Not to say that women don't like fishing, but I definitely think this is a bloke. So what we're going to do now is stamp our round onto the front. There you go. So you hover with the handle till you're happy with the position. There we go. Let me just, big stamp. These are big stamps. Beautiful. Beautiful for mixed media also. There. What a lovely image. So you see, I've got my image there, and it's like instant background, isn't it? But let me show you something. It got hard. Obviously, it'd be better if I let this dry, but just for the sake of argument, I'm going to flip this over now. So clearly, I can blot this, and you'll see it will blot. But what's going to happen now is I'm going to take an eraser. like a pencil eraser. Faber-Castell do a great one. The pink is a softer one, the white is the harder one, and you'll find that what you can do is you can actually go in to the back of the artwork, right, and you're not going to affect the line art of the stamp, of course you're not, because it's on the other side, it's on the front, isn't it? But you see how I can actually remove really beautifully the colour from behind. Now if I want to use the pink side, the pink rubber, you'll see it's not quite so extreme. So if I want to say take a little bit of colour out of here or out of the water, it's not as radical as the white eraser. Do you see? If I want to get a little bit of contrast in the boat, but I don't want to completely whiten it, then I can use the pink rubber. If I want to really take the colour out completely, like say out of his hat, there you go. Let's look at the fish. Let's take the fish into account. See, now the thing is as well, let's pretend that we wanted to inject some colour into this. Now, because we're using designer parchment, the thing about that is that, say I wanted to make these fish green, so the green, if I coloured it in with pens or pencils, it would be fighting the coloured parchment. So if I was to, look, see how it's picking up the wet ink on the other side. Let's turn it over to the front so you can see what I'm actually doing here. Do you see? Beautiful. What I'm trying to say is, if I wanted to introduce colour, it would be a good idea to actually take out colour before reintroducing it. Let's say I want to make these reeds, there we go. Let's say I want to make them yellow. If I take a yellow, enter the yellow pencil, Pergoliners, beautiful. Any pencil will do the job. Right, if I put the yellow on here where I haven't taken out the colour, I'm working on the back, yeah. If I take the colour out of here where I haven't removed the colour, and then I'll put some yellow in where I have removed the colour. Let's see if there's a difference on this side. Very much so. See how vibrant this is by comparison? You see that? So the whole idea is, if you want the colours to be true, then it's also smart to remove the colour from the back. If your rubber or your eraser starts to look a bit blunt, then just pencil sharpener and get a really nice tip again, and then off you can go again. So you can see now for the stamper, this is a fantastic solution, really, because you're using, let's do some of the sky, you're using parchment, but you can create really wonderful highlights and lowlights. See, I'm just adding a little bit of sky now. Let me show you when I turn it over. See, it's good, isn't it? See? So then, if you want, you can also add colour to the front. Of course you can. But most parchers, we tend to work from behind. There you go. And then just, now we've taken out the colour. Here we go, look. Let's do the trees. Give me a couple of minutes and I'll just take the white out of the trees. Let me just take the colour out of the trees. I'm going to take the green out of the trees, and then I'm going to put the yellow back in again. Here we go, look. Okay, so you can see what I've done now is I've gone through here and I'm literally taking colour out. I'm lifting colour out of the parchment. Now, if I choose to reintroduce colour, then that's down to me. But if I don't, then all I'm doing, let's look at the trees. If I don't, you see, I can add shadow, I can add highlights, I can add lowlights, I can add contrast. It's entirely up to me what I do. When I turn this over, you can see how you can introduce just beautiful colour. And it looks as though I've used a white pencil, but in fact I haven't done anything of the sort. What I've done is I've extracted colour. So now you know the theory. Let me show you a couple of the other beautiful stamp rounds, because they lend themselves absolutely beautifully to this. And I'll show you, for example, the finished piece that I've worked on here, and you can see how I've mounted the parchment with brads. You can use a glue runner around the sides as well. But yeah, so that's the first thing I want to show you, is that one. Now let's have a look. This is really nice. Have a look at one of the fairies. Now this one, for example, here, you can see that okay? You can see that I've added highlights here. This is what I'm doing. So I've stamped the fairy, and then on the back, once again, what I've done is I've pretended that there's a source of light here. And then all the way through here, I've just added the highlight. And the low light is just left alone. There we are, you see? So it's the same thing again. But isn't that just delightful? Very, very simple. And I'm not even adding any colour to that. I could, if I wanted, of course I can go back in and I can add yellows and oranges and all sorts. When I turn it over, there's our beautiful fairy. We're working in reverse. Now, I want to show you one more which I'm particularly pleased with. And this one, so this fairy here is this fairy here. Yeah? So you can see it's just a beautiful stamp. Now let's have a look at one of the other. Then there's this fairy. Got to show you all the fairies. We do like a fairy in England, I can tell you. Right? So you can see this lovely fairy. She's gorgeous. In fact, I'm sure, bear with me a moment, I'm pretty certain, yeah, here she is. She's lovely. Let me show you her in pink. Look, isn't she beautiful? There we go. So we've got her on one of the Indian summer papers there as well. And here, all we've done is on the front now, I've taken one of those pens. It's called a Wink of Stella. It's a really lovely sort of a shimmer pen. And I've just gone in over the front. So colouring in on the back, turn it over, bit of Wink of Stella, and you get that beautiful shimmer. I don't know if you can see that on the wings of the fairies there. See the wings of the fairies? So that's just a Wink of Stella over the top of the white work, or the coloured in pens, as you like. So we've got that one. Now, the pièce de résistance. So this one, let me show you this little fairy. This is a moon. Do you see the moon cradling the little girl with the hairs? It's a very lucky stamp, I find. It makes me smile. So what I did with this, because of course we've got this round, what I did was I just masked off this edge with some masking tape. And that gave me, can I show you it like so? That gave me the moon. Now, this is also parchment in the background. This is parchment, again, stamped on the front, just as I did before, flipped it over, took out the hair, the colour in the hair, took out the colour on this side of the moon, even made a little moon for a balloon, look. And then in the background here, I used one of our landscape masks to create the skyline, there we go, with the rooftops. And then I just drew in my little birds. These birds are a delight to do and very, very simple. But I'll save that for another YouTube. But you see how the stamps themselves are very, very fine lines, very beautiful. So there we've got with the little girl, with the moon and the balloon. We've got the boy or the man, the gentleman gone fishing. We've got the fairies. And we've got it all going on here. And we've got the lone cypress too. So there we are. I wanted to show you how effective it can be to stamp on parchment. Our designer parchment at Clarity is not just for parchers, believe you me. As a mixed media and stamp crafter myself, I love using parchment. And we haven't even started embossing. In another YouTube, I'll be happy to show you how we can whiten this even more just by using a little tiny bit of pressure with an embossing tool from behind. So, hope you enjoyed that. Bit of a mess here. Do head over to the website and investigate those fine line stamps. They're beautiful, and they're called Fairy Rounds, Boating Rounds, and the California Rounds. So do look out for those. And the parchment, very, very beautiful designer parchment. www.claritystamp.com. And if you like what you see, do leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye now.